Hi, my name is Mackenzie Johnson, and I'm a student teacher at Wells Elementary School in 4th grade.
My name is Madeline Maggio, and I am a student teacher at Wells Elementary in kindergarten.
And we are both seniors at Georgia College in the early childhood education cohort.
So today we're going to be talking to you about integrating arts into the classroom. And for a couple of benefits of integrating arts, children are able to recognize new skills in themselves, bring them confidence, and it's a collaboration in building relationships among the students and teachers. Integrating arts teaches risk-taking, and it's known to increase understanding in the content, and it also encourages physical, social, emotional, and cognitive development. First, there's an example of integrating music, and to do this in your classroom, you can create a song based on the content you are learning for students to memorize. You can create this and teach it to them, or you can come up with it as a class together. You usually put it to a tune of a familiar song that they already know, so like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or Itsy Bitsy Little Spider. You can also create hand movements to help them memorize it, and some of those benefits for developmental is cognitive, you're learning about a new concept, and social emotional, it helps students step out of their comfort zone, and it's a collaboration and teamwork to create the song together. And also, if you're doing hand movements with the song, you're developing motor skills through the hand movements. So this is an example of my classroom learning the letter Y and its letter sounds.
So I'm going to talk about integrating arts in the classroom. So one way to do this is an interactive read aloud, so you can ask comprehension questions throughout the reading just to work on their comprehension skills, and then you can even implement a writing activity after. So they'll do a interactive read aloud, and then they'll do an art activity that relates to the book, and then you can even do an extension and do the writing activity that explains the art activity. And then they can share their art or their writing after. And so those benefits are cognitive development, they can work on their reading and their comprehension skills, their social emotional development, and it helps to express themselves through their artwork, and they can share their projects to work on their public speaking skills. And then physical, it works on those fine motor skills through the drawing, the cutting, the pasting through their art. And then in my classroom, we did, in my classroom, we did I read aloud The Perfect Square, which is about just a square piece of paper that turns itself into different cool objects like fountains and bridges and mountains and things like that. And so I did an interactive read aloud, and I asked comprehension questions throughout, and then I gave my kids a colored piece of square paper, and they were able to create different things. So one of my students created a paper airplane, another student created a playground, some of my students created ice cream cones, some created robots or masks, different faces for it that they can hold up. And so that was a really cool activity that I did.
You can also integrate drama into the classroom. So this would involve something like reader's theater, so you can do a read aloud and then have the students go up after and kind of act out what they read while someone narrates it. For social studies, it can teach them about the events in history. Reading, you can act it out as the teacher's reading, and it gives you can give students a character or a prop to either hold up or wear as a disguise to feel like that character. This activity benefits for cognitive development by learning about a historical event or reading comprehension skills. The social and emotional development, it's able to step out of their comfort zone and work on public speaking skills as they're in front of the class. And physical, they're moving around the classroom, keeping them engaged, and so they aren't sitting the entire time.
And then in my classroom last year, I was also in 4th grade, so we would do this when we were teaching them about different historical events. And so in 4th grade, we were talking about the relationship between the early colonists in Great Britain and the king. And so we had one student be the king, and he wore a paper crown on his head, so he went up to the front of the room. And then all of the students were colonists, and so we gave them different baskets and tools and furs that would represent them as colonists. And all of the colonists got little butterscotch squares, and they represented gold, so money. And then the king went around, and as we narrated the historical events, he would take the butterscotch square, so that represented the king taking the colonists' money. And then also in a reader's theater standpoint, We gave the example of reading aloud a Skippy John Jones book because there are a lot of very strong characters in those books. And so you could have Skippy John Jones wearing cat ears and a sombrero, and that would be a student, and he would come up to the front of the room and act out what Skippy John Jones is doing as you read aloud. There's the mother, so she could wear an apron because she's seen cooking a lot. You have 3 little girls in your classroom be his 3 sisters, and they could also wear cat ears. And then his little group of friends, which are the Los Chimichangos, could be another little group of boys in your classroom. They could wear sombreros or dog ears. And that is the end of our presentation. This is a fun little quote that we found in